What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Think Big podcast. It's episode 74, which means we've been going for 74 straight weeks in a row. So if I had like one of those machines that would do an applause, I'd be clicking that button right now where everyone's like, yeah, because ultimately this puts this podcast, I'm just being real, statistically in the top 1% of all podcasts, because most podcasts never even make it past first 3 episodes. All right, only 10% of podcasts make it past the first 3 episodes, and only 1% of podcasts make it past episode 19. We're at episode 74, and these are live podcasts, which means we're showing up consistently now for 74 weeks. So huge shout out to Sam, huge shout out to Alejandro being so damn consistent, and huge shout out to Abraham, Anthony, and Rob Rivas for being here in the chat, in the comments. We appreciate you guys. Before we get started, make sure if you got value last week, understand that that value is going to grow exponentially, and we want to grow it with a community. So what we ask is, as we're getting started, don't wait till the end, don't wait till tomorrow, don't wait till next week, although you guys do a phenomenal job at sharing it, tagging us on Instagram, sharing it on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube and all the places. I love that. However, I want you to share it right now before we get into the sauce. Give people the opportunity to be here live, because one thing I hate is when someone says, Marlon, I didn't know. I had no clue you guys were going live on Tuesday. I'm like, how do you not know? And I take the blame. It's my fault, because I'm on Instagram and I'm talking about my run across America. I'm literally not talking about this enough. That the most valuable thing we do each week is show up on Tuesday and we mastermind out loud. I mean, when you see the whiteboard behind Sam, you know it's about to get serious. Just understand. So, yo, we got Maj in the chat. What up, Maj? We got John, her. Yo, what up, fam? Good to see you, brother. So, do me a favor, get this podcast shared out. I already see it. Thank you, guys. Like, I'm seeing more people tune in already. Like, the amount of viewers on my page just doubled. The amount of viewers on Sam's page just doubled. Let's get this thing cracking up to 30 people so we can get this episode started. But before we get it started, I got to ask a question, because it's who I am. It's what I care about. I need to know from Sam, and I need to know from Alejandro. What are you grateful for today, my friends?
Ooh, my gratitude this morning is for me to have 5 fingers. I'm able to type, use it to communicate with my tools that's going to allow me to achieve my goals.
It's a good one. I am extremely grateful for the leaders in my business who understand how to create and bring in new opportunities.
Ooh, I love that. That's a strong leader.
We talked about this last week, man. We talked about last week, just real quick. We talked about the differences between a manager and a director. And man, the directors I have in my life are the reason why we are going to make as much as we're about to make. And I'm fucking stoked on it. But yeah, Marlon, what about you, man? Because you were running through snow and you were running through ice. You were in, the apocalypse. You were out there in the ice ages. What are you grateful for? How are you maintaining gratitude during the ice age?
Bro, every day. Mindset Marlon, bro. I keep the vibes. I'm grateful, quite frankly, to have a strong, healthy, youthful body that allows me to do this epic adventure right now. I mean, we talk about what we would do if we had the money, what we would do if we had the freedom. And every single morning I'm waking up and I'm living that life to its absolute fullest, putting myself into some strange situations with some absolutely amazing people, creating memories that I am, quite frankly, journaling so that I can share with my children, my grandchildren, and their grandkids. I'm grateful for that. So, and of course, I'm grateful to be here. Last week, I don't think I was on the episode last week, and the week before, quite frankly, when I showed up, I was so energetically drained from a full day of running, a full day of traveling, a full day of going through the weathers, the ups and downs, climbing mountains, that when I finally got on this show, I was just kaput. So I'm grateful that today I was able to wrap up our run. I did about 32 miles. Andrew's finishing up the last 10 miles for the day. And now I get to hang out with 2 of my best friends, and we get to talk business, which is awesome. So thank you, Sam, for asking that question, man.
do it, man. I'm stoked for you to be here. And honestly, like, you know, I want you to crush this run, but selfishly, I'm waiting for you to just be done with the run so we can hang out in a context that wouldn't require me to run 40 miles. But let's get into it, guys. So Marlon, while you've been away, right? While you've been fighting the fight and doing such amazing things for the world, Alejandro and I, we've been chatting it up with the folks, and what we've realized is a lot of people they're lacking things in the business, right? We can get them on motivation, we can get them all hyped up, we can get them wanting to run through a brick wall and create generational wealth and all these things. But the simple truth is they need the instruments, they need the understanding, they need the know-how. So last week we did a very, in my opinion, tactical discussion about hiring and training leaders and employees in the business to get your time back. That's the most important thing. And I want to kind of give you guys some take on this. So this past week, and I did the Marketing Secrets Masterclass, which was a phenomenal success. It was the biggest and best masterclass I've ever done. Marlon, I can't wait to jump in the 1% mastermind with you and talk to you about like how all that went, because the KPIs from that masterclass were phenomenal. But you know, the wild thing is I've been so present with making that epic, right? I've got an amazing webinar coming up at the end of this week with one of the best damn mentors in the game, Miss Tiffany High. And I'm so focused on these things. I'm so focused on all this Sam Singh shit, getting on stage, whether it's virtual or physical, and getting ready to just deliver so much damn value. You know what ends up happening, Marlon, is that I still have a business behind the scenes that needs to run, right? And so insanely enough, I had a 2-hour call with my dispositions director, Sasha, today. And we went over it. I mean, like, dude, we've got 2 more deals closing this week and next week. We just closed a massive deal. I think we have another 40K rip in the mix coming up. I think we just got another 2 or 3 deals. No, 9. I think it was 9 deals sent to us in the last 24 hours. And I think of those 9 deals, we're probably going to take on 4 or 5 of them. And the cool thing is not only is that happening, we've also got an assistant coming in to play a support role for Sasha. We've got all of these things happening behind the scenes where the business isn't just sustaining. You know what's happening? The business is growing. And it's the best damn thing ever that I can focus on the things that I need to do, which is more masterclasses, more webinars, more speaking on stage, more Sam Singh shit. And the business keeps on growing because I've got the right people elevated and positioned to do the damn thing. And here's something that took me forever to learn. And that's that the structure of the business matters. The blueprint of the business, the org chart of the business. And so what I want to do is I want to take it back to something that's very tactical, but it's a fundamental that nobody teaches. Guys, anyone in the chat, John Herr, Chris, Bo, anybody, have you guys ever been taught what an org chart actually looks like in business? Let me know in the chat. I can almost guarantee the answer is no mentor ever sat you down and showed you how to either create one or one should look like, or you may not have even seen one tailored to a real estate acquisitions business. Yeah, the answer is no. And the reason why is because there's so many mentors and gurus who do great job at coaching, and very few of them will actually teach you how to structure the business. They'll teach you how to do transactions. They'll teach you how to do a type of deal. They'll teach you how to, do all these new and unique ways of investing, but they very rarely teach you how to structure a business so that it can run while you sleep. And I want to go over that today. So I apologize. I was supposed to have my iPad connected, but my iPad, for whatever reason, is just not working. It's just not wanting to play ball. So I'm going to be on my iPad here drawing this out, and then I'm going to be coaching Alejandro to draw out on his iPad because his works. And then I want you guys to understand what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be creating an org chart. And it's one of the most important things you can do in your business. And if you're not doing it, right, you need to. You fucking need to. Excuse the language, but you absolutely freaking need to. Why? Because if it doesn't exist somewhere explicitly written for your entire team, your entire people to look at, then no one's on the same page. And that's the interesting thing about this business. If you don't have an org chart that's explicitly written down, if you don't have a org chart that reflects, this is critical here, guys. You want to have an org chart that reflects where you're at now, but more importantly, it reflects where you want to be. So an org chart for $1 million a year business, it's going to look a lot different from one that does 250,000. And it's going to look a lot different from one that does $1 billion, right? So I want you guys to understand the season that you're in versus the season that you want to be, and create an org chart that reflects that. Okay. Marlon, you are muted.
Sam, real quick, because you keep saying org chart, and I know that there is at least one person in the audience who's like listening and they're smiling and they're so happy, but they have no idea what org chart even means. Is that short for something?
Yeah. So one, in org chart, depending on who you go to, there's going to be, I've seen org chart be used a million different ways, but the general consensus is going to be the organizational capacity of the business itself. It is going to be the structure of the business specific to roles. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be key. There is org charts in a business that are very surface level, and this just outlines the various roles and structure, and most importantly, in my opinion, the chain of command of the business. And then there is an accountability chart, which is basically, it goes even deeper than the org chart, and that goes into specific roles and responsibilities, like very fine-tuned roles and responsibilities, almost to like a resume level or job description level. And that's a micro nuance of an org chart. But for today, we're not going to go that into the weeds. We're going to stick very kind of surface level, because I want everyone here to take what we show and then apply it to their own businesses back home. But basically, yes, Marlon, we're going to be talking about the organizational structure of personnel in their business.
Cool. Let's jump into it.
Let's do it. Alejandro, can you get your iPad set up?
Yeah, 1000%. Give me about 1 second. There you go.
That was less than 1 second. That was so much less than 1 second. Wow. Okay, so phenomenal. Now, guys, I want you guys to understand this. We've talked about this before. A real estate acquisition business, whether you're doing wholesaling, a lot of people say, well, I'm not a wholesaler, Sam, I want to buy and hold. Well, guess what? The process of getting the deals is effectively the exact same damn thing, right? If you're a buy and holder, you're actually running very often the same business model for a large portion of, you're still running the same business model as a ton of wholesalers, as a ton of flippers. You guys just don't realize that they're all actually one and the same. So let's do this, because I want, let's switch him over there. Boom. Okay. So everyone should be able to see him pretty well now. Okay. I want everyone to understand this. What we're basically going to be going over today is the fundamental org chart behind a sales and marketing business in the real estate space. Now, whether you sell the deal and wholesale it, whether you keep the deal, raise the money and fix and flip it, whether you buy and hold it as a rental, doesn't really matter. The exit behind the deal actually doesn't matter too much. What I care about you guys understanding is this is what a structured business looks like. And I want you to take that back into your own business. And some of you guys are TCs. Some of you guys may be lending. Some of you guys may be gators. You guys may be doing something else. Fuck, some of you guys may have another business entirely, but you can, I promise, gain value from this. So I want to start at the top up, right? Because I always personally talk about top-down hiring, right? So at the top of this, Alejandro, I want you to either draw a circle or a square for our first chart, for our first little box. And that's going to be the business owner.
Do you want it all to fit all in one page, or are we going to be scrolling down?
We'll be scrolling down, bro.
Okay, cool.
There's no way this is all going to fit in one page. So do me a favor, just write business owner in there.
Okay.
Now, guys, the key is this. The key is this person's you. This person is you. This is the key. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it at a very high level, and there's going to be roles and positions that we add here that you may not have right now. You may not even have for another 2 years, right? These are very elevated. The goal is to chase something to this effect, right? We always want to have a goal in mind of what we're trying to pursue. And a lot of people, they say, we want to do more revenue. Okay. We want to make more money. We want to make more profit. We want to do more deals, but they very rarely understand explicitly, how many people does that require? How many roles will that require in the business, right? It's so funny. If you want to actually hit a revenue number in your business, very often, all you actually have to do is look at how many people are you lacking in the business to do that. It's actually very simple. So, Alejandro, do me a favor. You're going to draw 2 lines down, actually just 1 line down in another box.
Okay.
Okay. Then we're going to put in here together just CEO/COO.
Okay.
And guys, depending on the business, you don't need a CEO and a COO. I'm a huge advocate of understanding that in the real estate wholesale specifically, you actually don't even need two partners. You don't need multiple people running this ship. It's actually very simple. If you understand how to hire, train, and retain the right talent, you actually don't need multiple partners in the business diluting your profit splits. It actually doesn't work very often, okay? But at a high level in any general sales and marketing business, you're probably going to have one or both, a CEO, a CEO or a COO. This person is effectively in charge of running the damn business, making sure the business is hitting its key process indicators, key performance indicators, key profit indicators, quarter over quarter over quarter. Now, depending on the size of the business, this is where we get into some hedge fund level type things. Okay, guys? Alejandro, do me a favor. See that line connecting the two? In the middle of that line, I want you to just make a line going sideways.
Left or right?
Go right. And we'll do another box. Boom.
Right here?
And then another box extending. Yep.
Okay.
And then in this box, we're going to write shareholders. These are people who have an equitable interest in the business, usually not through any executive oversight, usually because they've invested in the business, right? We look at large-scale businesses across the world. They raise hundreds of millions of dollars, right? This is where they go. And then you actually learn this, guys, have an executive MBA, which is a Master of Business Administration, which specifically focuses on scaling businesses. And do you guys know what the number one goal is for any business? Do you guys actually know this? Like what the textbook goal for any one business is?
I would assume. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Marlon.
I was going to say it's either going to be between create a raving fan client base or to make profit.
So you're almost there. What do you think, Alejandro?
I would say, I mean, it depends on the person, but I think Maj even said solve problems, be profitable, sell.
The explicit number one goal, okay, for any business on earth from a textbook standpoint, and this applies in some way, shape, or form to every business, is to maximize profits for not the CEO, not the COO, not even the business owner, for the shareholders. That is actually the number one goal of any business that actually has any level of corporate structure. And this is what people don't realize. When you get into these giant businesses and they go raise 150, 160, 170 million dollars, right? And they go public, their goal, Apple's goal isn't to make more money for the president and CEO of Apple. It's to make more money for its shareholders, all the people who have stocks in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very interesting. A lot of people don't know that. Tesla's goal isn't to make more money for Tesla or for Elon Musk. It's to make more money and maximize profits and maximize the exponential return for its shareholders. So this is actually the interesting thing. And very often there'll be a board of directors who are representing the interests of the shareholders, right? In between, very often with the shareholders alongside them. But we're just going to go on and move on with this. Okay. Now, this is something that we talked about extensively last week, but we didn't draw it out. And I want to draw it out because I think this is going to help. Okay. So, Alejandro, what I'm going to want you to do now is, can you like zoom out too?
A little bit.
Okay, sweet. So what I want you to do is this. You're going to go down to the left and then down again.
Okay. Like down?
To the left.
Oh. I don't know why it's doing that. The left. Keep going.
And then down again.
Okay.
And then one box. Boom. Okay. And right now, if you're running a sales and marketing business, especially in the real estate space, aka wholesaler, real estate acquisitions, and in my opinion, this is going to be one of the most, probably the most critical role in your business. And this is going to be the sales director. And I hope you guys are getting some value actually seeing it visually drawn out. This is what I think people sometimes are missing. And that's what I want to do today. So your sales director, guys, I'm not going to get into too much of this, but the sales director's role is what? Not just to lead the sales team. It's not just to manage them. It's to actually engage in new pipelines. It's to actually start up new marketing campaigns. It's to get more research in the marketplace on what's working, what's not. Hey, direct mail campaigns are crushing it. Texting is dead. Let's switch these things off. Let's pivot. Let's change. The director's job is actually to direct the ship into new uncharted waters, hoping to be successful. That is the director's job. It's actually very interesting that no one talks about that. So this person, in my opinion, in a real estate wholesale business is effectively going to be the most important role in the business if you have the right person in the seat. If you have the wrong person in the seat, you will be shutting down pipelines left and right. I can promise you, been there, done that. Put the wrong person in this seat, the business trajectory ends up becoming horribly inconsistent. Okay. Do we have any questions here? If you guys have questions, 100% drop them in the chat because I'm just going to keep going deep into this.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. And just so you guys know, the reality is this. If you have a killer sales director, right, and you were the business owner, you actually may not even need a CEO/COO. Very often, your sales director ends up playing a synonymous role of the CEO. And then on the opposite side, right, you have a dispositions director. We'll get into that on the second portion of it. But on the disposition side, we also have like dispositions, project management, and operational management. Your ops director, you may even want to call them an ops director, basically plays the role of your COO. So you actually don't even need multiple people in these roles. It's one person can cover two hats essentially. Okay, but let's move on from this. So this is at an extremely scaled standpoint, guys. Right? Some of these are going to be a little bit repetitive. You don't have to have all of them at the highest levels. But if you are basically trying to become like hedge fund level with your business in terms of your scale and you want to do millions a month, you're basically going to want to chase something to this effect. So Alejandro, let's go deeper underneath sales director.
Okay.
Okay. And the sales director is going to be pursuing, right, new marketing campaigns, new markets, new all these things from a very high level standpoint. Underneath the sales director is going to be a sales team manager. And then I want to be very specific on this, guys. I want you guys to understand. It's like, well, Sam, I mean, don't they both do the same thing? Can there be overlap? There 100% can be overlap. But at scale, if you have the wrong person in the wrong seat, you will screw the business over. I can almost guarantee it. You're going to stagnate your growth because a manager, right, their job is to sustain and keep alive an ecosystem that's already been built for them. That's the key. If you have a manager in the role of the director, you're going to keep wondering why the business isn't growing. Because a manager's job is not to grow. A manager's job is to manage and just keep alive. That is it. And then Marlon, have you ever seen anything just coast evenly forever, or do things coast downhill?
Everything goes downhill. If it's moving in a direction without effort, it's moving down.
There you go. If it ain't growing, I'm sorry, it's dying. And it's dying slowly. Maybe it's dying fast, but the reality is if it ain't growing, it's dying. So you put a manager in a director role, your business will slowly start a trend downward. You may not realize it, but it will, and it'll become abundantly clear over enough time. So what is the difference between outside of managing? What is the specific roles in the day-to-day, right? A sales director is going to be looking after marketing campaigns. They're going to be looking at the broad stream of maximizing an ROI on marketing channels, on new pipelines, on new campaigns, on new markets, on new locations, all these things. The sales team manager, their job is simple: to hold accountable the acquisitions personnel underneath them. I mean, that's simply it. This is the person who's going to be coordinating and verifying KPIs for the team. Did you make your dials today? Did you make your calls today? Did you make your offers today? Right? Did you clock in for work at the right time? Did we go over our call calibrations and sit down and listen to your call review and check your tonality? This is going to be the roles of a sales team manager. And if you have a director in this seat, that is okay. But very often they will get freaking bored doing the same thing repetitively over and over and over and over again. Directors like exploring the unknown. Managers are people who thrive just with repetition. So underneath the sales team manager, Alejandro, do me a favor.
Yep. On it.
Let's go. We're going to go down and we're going to have just two boxes come underneath it.
Oops. Okay. I'm going to go down, and you said 2 boxes?
Yep, down and then 2 boxes.
Okay, got it.
And the reason why I'm giving you 2 guys is you actually don't need any more than 2 here.
Do you want the boxes to be like this or just left, right?
The one on the left, one on the right. It's going to be 2 separate boxes, indicating 2 different roles.
Okay. I just didn't know if you want them off to the side.
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
And then so why am I only putting 2 guys? So all you're going to put here is you're going to put, I want you to use the label specifically because people conflate this. I don't know if you guys have heard this or know this. Everyone keeps messing this portion up of this business. They keep using the wrong titles. But to keep things simple and easy, we're going to put in both of them, you're going to put closer 1, and then the other one you're going to put closer 2.
Yeah.
And the reality is this, guys, simply put, with 2 closers, you can 100% do $1 million a year. You can actually do $1 million a year with 1 closer, but at a high level, 2 can get you really freaking far. Like really freaking far. Okay, sweet. And then, Alejandro, I want you to just give each of those closers, let's give each of them 2 boxes underneath them. This is their support personnel.
Yep. On it.
So it's going to be 4 total. Okay. You let me know in the chat, guys. Are you guys actually enjoying this? Is this valuable to you guys or no? If not, we'll just stop and talk about random shit.
I don't know, Sam. I don't know if anyone's getting value.
I don't think so either. I think they may all actually just understand this.
Is it okay if I make him smaller? That's cool with you, Sam?
Of course.
We can always zoom in.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, do me a favor. If you're getting value, share this out.
Yep.
The way you grow is not by hoarding value to yourself.
So, Alejandro, I want you to put in each of these, okay? I just want you to put LM 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, sir. LM. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alejandro, what does LM stand for?
Lead manager.
Lead manager.
You know what's crazy? I don't know. I don't think I ever showed you my business structure, but this is exactly how my structure is set up.
Oh, perfect. See, there you go. This is why you make so much damn money. You get it. So the reality is this, guys. A lead manager, you may hear a different term for these, right? So I'm gonna actually backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna take one step back. I'm gonna talk about closers. We all hear these terms, acquisition managers, right? I hate that term. Right? Because the idea, a manager manages people. That's typically in the corporate space. When you hear manager, you're actually managing people, unless it's a systems manager, in which case I'll say systems. A closer's job is simply put to get a seller to sign on the dotted line. Can a closer be a lead manager? Yeah, they can. They'll fucking hate you over a long enough time period if you get them out of a closer seat for too long. Closers want to close. They are athletes on game day. They don't like being on the bench. So an LM, right? You're also going to hear another phrase. I use this phrase a lot because of another mentorship that I'm in, and I think it's a phenomenal phrase. And that's an FUS. A FUS stands for follow-up specialist. A lead manager, right? Their job is to manage the lead and get it ready for something else. I personally don't like the term lead manager because they're not really managing much. They're just nurturing. I like the term follow-up specialist a little bit more. It's a little bit more specific and analytical, but a follow-up specialist or a lead manager's job is what? Lead has been sent in. They're doing a preliminary intake, making sure this lead is viable, and they're just nurturing until it is ready for what? To get passed on to closer 1 or closer 2. And guys, these ratios are actually perfect. If you have 2 closers, 4 lead managers, right? 1, you will be doing, with this setup alone, you'll probably be doing anywhere between 3 to 5 million easily. So now, Alejandro, do me a favor. Let's go actually back down to the acquisition side.
Okay. Like go over the closer?
Yeah. And then what I want you to do is just go into, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be connected to any one box. I just want you to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 lines.
4 lines down where?
Just straight down.
Okay. Like this?
No. At the bottom. Underneath lead managers.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. And then what I want you to do is just a little box for each one.
Okay.
And guys, I don't want you guys thinking that these individual channels, what we're going to do is we're actually going to fill these boxes with channels. They don't actually have to be, you don't have to have a dedicated channel to a dedicated person. I'm just proving a point that leads have to be coming in. This is where your leads come in. So in the first one, put CC.
CC
stands for cold call. Second one, let's put SMS. And then next one, DM for direct mail.
Okay.
And let's do PPC in the last one. Alejandro, can I add 17 more boxes for 17 different channels?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So whatever, it is your job to understand in your business how your leads come in. Absolutely how your leads come in. You can have a box there for JV. You can have a box there for referrals from agents. You can have DTA. You can have Gator. You can have all the things. You could have door knocking. You could have bird dogs. It doesn't freaking matter. You could have anything. Now,
I want here money sign, if you don't mind. I put money sign like it from least expensive to most expensive.
Perfect. And that's a good one. And the reality is this, guys. I want you to take this framework and realize that this is actually not the framework for a real estate wholesale business. This is actually the framework for usually any freaking telemarketing business or a business that generates leads to be closed. I can take this entire funnel system and then erase all the channels at the bottom and put in Facebook ads, event ads, billboard, TV commercial. And let's just say the product they're selling is not a real estate wholesale contract. Maybe it's a coaching and mentorship. And then what happens is you have all of these channels underneath, right? The channels can be sponsored ads. The channels can be Instagram ads, YouTube ads, whatever the hell it is. It doesn't freaking matter. Referrals. Then they go up to a lead manager, which is usually just an intake specialist, someone who's just vetting the lead, making sure it's legitimate. Then it escalates to a closer. And then it escalates to a sales director. All these things, guys, this actually has nothing to do with real estate. This is usually the framework for any sales and marketing business that usually does high ticket sales. If you look at high ticket sales in anything, guys, I've been on the phone with so many closers from so many other things trying to sell me shit. And it's funny. I know they all have the exact same system. If you understand this framework, you can apply this framework in effectively almost any business out there and thrive. So amazing. Any questions on this before we go to the next part?
Nope. Really quick, Sam. Any other just quick? Oh, go ahead, Marlon.
Well, I got a question, and this is going to be to help clarify for the audience. You mentioned that this is the framework for essentially any high ticket sales, because even wholesaling, right? It's a high ticket sell. When we're selling that contract, we're selling that contract for $10, $15, $20, $30,000. Why is it important that there's a price tag associated to the system? Does the system still work as well at a low ticket?
Yeah, it typically does. Here's the problem. A system, right? A sales and marketing team, by and large, across the board, usually majority of the time it's going to be on a commission basis, right? And usually when people are being paid on commission basis, also, guys, guess what? Like a real estate wholesale business, you need to have higher ticket to sustain the fact that you've got all of these people in this apparatus. And usually a lot of that spend, right? Why is it high ticket? Because that spend at the bottom costs a lot of money, right? PPC costs money. Facebook costs money. Direct mail costs money. Usually, can you do it with low ticket? 100% you can. But what ends up happening is we end up running less profitable business models. We see this thrive at the higher ticket space.
And I just want to talk about this from the psychology of the people that you have in those two boxes, closer number one, closer number two, even the lead managers, because effectively most times they're also eating a portion of the commission, maybe not as large as the closers, but typically a portion's being spread. And you got to imagine what's the motivation for a person who's going to come on, be a rock star player, be an amazing salesperson who's going to sharpen that skill. Are they going to want to sharpen that skill and apply it towards a product where every time they sell, they're only making $25, or every time they sell and they close a deal, they're making $2,500? So keep in mind, keeping your people happy, there is a portion of it is you want your people to be motivated by a financial gain, because that's going to cause them to go and work. And if your product allows them to earn what they need to earn, they're willing to create a life around your business.
There you go. There you go. And that's it, guys. That is it. The reality is this. I don't know about you guys, but most closers I've met in the high ticket space, they're generally flashy kind of guys. They're usually younger guys. They're usually alpha male go-getters, type A's. They usually, if depending on where they're at, they'll be decked out in a nice suit with a nice watch. They have a nice car. The reality is closers want to feel like a big fucking deal. That's just it. Closers have, and this is nothing wrong with this, closers actually have a massive ego typically, right? I'm a closer, Marlon's a closer, Alejandro's a closer. We've all done so much sales training. We've all led so many sales teams. I mean, I think amongst the three of us, we've probably taught thousands of people sales in just the sales training that we've done in other communities, right? The reality is closers want to be a big damn deal. And in order for them to be a big deal, right, to Marlon's point, they're not going to get out of bed and be excited, right? They're not going to be excited to pound the damn phones for a $200 payoff, for a $50 payoff, right? They really want the big checks coming in. Now, the reality is I've seen businesses work at lower ticket valuations, but those businesses are generating leads for next to nothing. And that's it. So then it becomes a profit margin thing. It's in and of itself another thing. Alejandro, you had a question before we move on.
Yeah, what are some other marketing channels you can think of? I'm seeing I'm getting some different vibes of people like perhaps don't have the money for marketing. What are some other free marketing channels that you can think of right at the top of the head?
Other free marketing channels?
Free marketing channel, just something that, let's just say you got $1 in your pocket. Like what do you do?
Do we want to make it specific to real estate or no?
Yeah, let's just for this one, let's just take it to
okay. So if you've got a free marketing channel, your typical standard one's going to be JV. And guys, you guys may be wondering, how do you actually structure JV? You actually can. You can KPI track JV. It's really difficult to do. I would venture to say that my team's one of the only ones that's actually properly done it, but JV is an answer. Direct to agent is another one. Direct to agent is a phenomenal one. Why? Because they're doing the work for you and their information is publicly available. Let's see. There's going to be... you can actually, for free, target expired listings. A lot of people don't know that. But if you have Zillow, right, which is free, you can actually pull expired listings in a very unique way off it. It's a pain in the ass. But if you are broke as a joke and you've got no other way to make money, that's a phenomenal one. Now, I want to, interestingly enough, let's talk about this. I want to be a little bit more granular with JV. Like, how do you get the JVs? Honestly, very often, if you guys are in a mastermind group, you're in a mentorship, you're in a community, very often those boxes at the bottom, it's not about cold calling. Very often it's a Facebook post with the right ad copy, with the right visual graphics, with the right storytelling, with the right call to action at the end, in and of itself is a lead generator. And a lot of people don't realize that. They don't understand that. In my business, I'm going to give you guys some game right now. Why are we crushing JV dispositions? Because nobody understands that better than my dispositions director. Nobody in this game, nobody in any community I'm in understands that more than Sasha. And it's why we crush it. So does that answer some insights there, Alejandro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, beautiful. Let's do me a favor. Let's go up. We're going to go back up because this is what's going to happen. We built out the acquisition. Okay. Now we need to build out the other side. And the reality is there's a middle to it as well.
Ooh. Okay. Alrighty. Here we go.
Okay. So right there. So under CEO, COO, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to make that go all the way to the far right. And then we're going to build another tree down there. Okay, but in the middle, Alejandro, I want to show everyone what the glue of the business actually looks like. And this glue is actually in very often several other business models. I've seen this glue in title companies, in car sales companies, in high ticket coaching sales. I've seen this shit everywhere. I've seen this in Rolex, and people don't even realize that it's there. So in the middle, Alejandro, before we go and build the one off to the right with the dispositions arm, I want to basically build the one in the middle.
Okay.
And this role ironically enough, it doesn't need a massive downline. It just needs one box typically. And this is going to be, I want you to put TC/PM. What's going on, man? Good to see you. And then, so TC, we get it, guys. Transaction coordinator, they're the glue. That's basically handling paperwork, handling escrow proceedings, handling all that stuff. PM is going to be your project manager, right? Usually they're one and the same. Very often at scale, your TC will be your PM. They're managing your flips, they're managing your rehabs, they're managing all these things. And the fun fact is this, guys, TC and PM sounds like very real estate terms. You can take that away, right? And take this outside of real estate and put another role right in there, right? Mm-hmm. This is usually the person who's handling paperwork or correspondence on the inside of the business. They're not external to the business. They're not in a B2C, business to consumer aspect. They're very internal. It's like almost like internal housekeeping. That's what this role is, right? If you look at this, if you actually look at the structure of this, do you guys know on the sales director side, on the sales side, on the far left, you see how there's no barrier on the left of it? It's exposed. Why? Because on the left of it's consumers that they're dealing with. On the right, you've got dispositions. And on the right of that, there's going to be buyers who come to talk. In the middle, right, the TCs, the PMs, they're in the middle. They're kind of protected. Their job is to run the insides of the business. So give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to turn this fan on real quick.
I got to say, project managers are probably the most important people for business owners to have, in my opinion. And the reason being is business owners often are going to be busy doing 1,000,001 things to actually follow projects through from start to finish and tag along every step of the way. Every time we do a deal, anytime we do a wholesale transaction, anytime we do anything, I absolutely hire and utilize a TC. After my first time doing my own paperwork and realizing what it took to take a property from opening escrow to actually closing, I realized that it's not the job for me. I have zero motivation to follow a deal from start to finish after I actually got the contract. And many of you might find yourself in a very similar position. And that's why we have people like transaction coordinators, like project managers. After you initially, or your salespeople, get the deal under contract, realize it is a disservice to you, your business, and them if you have them following up on the deal after it's already been signed and closed.
Yeah, that sucks. I've heard of TCs like, yeah, I actually love this. I'm like, really? Okay. Very good. Let me see here. Sam, we had some questions on here. If you're okay answering.
Yeah, let's get some questions, please.
Where are they? There should be, I think that's just a statement here. Okay. How did you get to this level? Is there a certain amount of deals that you need to start getting hires, etc.?
Carlos, I'm going to challenge you to reframe your mindset. It is not a deal requisite. I officially found out this past weekend that we are over 220 deals. We've already closed to over 220 deals. Is that the prerequisite? I don't know. Looking at it right now, I think all that was missing was the know-how more than anything. These things were all hard-won lessons. I would say that in reality, it is not about getting to a number of deals. It is about getting to the knowledge base first. So all we're doing right now is we're showing you what success organizationally looks like. Now that you know, after this call, you're going to know what success from a blueprint, from organizational structure looks like. What you can then start doing is start going in and micro diving into each of these roles, right? Then you're going to click that sales director box and you're going to understand, okay, cool, this is what a sales director needs to do. And you're going to build out effectively a roles and responsibilities job description for the sales director position. And then you're going to go source that human being who's compatible to the position. The same thing's going to happen with the sales team lead. The same thing's going to happen with the TC. So no, you don't need to hit a deal number, in my honest opinion.
And I want to piggyback with that, with this being the case. Carlos, this is a question you need to ask yourself along with everybody else inside here as you're listening to Sam. Recognize that Sam's advice is coming from a standpoint of he's assuming that you have already answered this question for yourself of what do I want? And the answer is I want to build a business. I want to build $1 million business and I want to be a business owner. If your goal isn't to build $1 million business and not to be a business owner, instead your goal is maybe I just want to do a couple of deals, this isn't the conversation for you. But if your goal is, I'm interested in building a business like the Fortune 500 companies do, I'm interested in building a business that's sellable, I'm interested in building a business that people would actually want to invest in, I'm interested in building a business that people would want to purchase from me because it works so well outside of me, then recognize that it's about starting from that finish point at the very beginning. And now it's not a matter of time. And it's interesting, Sam, I got to use this as an opportunity to piggyback. Andrew and I were talking about this while we were running across America today. We were talking about the fact that there are people who say they want to do this, they want to run across America, and they've been planning it for the last 13, 15, 20 years. And we said, it's kind of funny. We came up with this idea a few months ago, and ultimately we just decided to send it. So it wasn't a matter of time of, hey, we need to train for this for the next 30 years. It was a matter of decision, being clear on what we want to create. So Carlos, get clear on what you want to create. And if your goal is to create business, there's really only one person on the screen that you need to listen to, and that's Sam.
Yep. And by the way, if you don't want me adding Sam, this is, if you're not in the position to start building your business structure like this, it's still really important to understand what it looks like to go to the next level. Because if you start, at a very basic level, and you don't know what your next step looks like, you're always going to be stuck on that basic level. So for this is really important for me. I learned a lot. When I first got into wholesaling, I saw one of my mentors' corporate structure. And at that time, that's when I realized I was thinking so small. But I didn't know. I was thinking small. I thought, ooh, wholesale, I'm going to buy me a Rolls Royce and, that's it. But no, wholesaling, buy and hold, fix and flip, this business, that business, this business. Here's how the company structures, et cetera, et cetera. It's good to learn this. So even if you're in a position where you're not financially where you can get started on this, still take notes and then set goals on how to get to this position.
There you go. And guys, the answer is simply this. I'm showing you guys the minimum blueprint for basically doing, and I would say probably about 3 to 5 million a year in rev, right? That's really what this blueprint's going to give you. The reality is this: you can have this be anything. You can take the number 3 to 5 million and downgrade that, because you're looking at this blueprint and you're like, damn, that's a lot of fucking boxes. That's a lot of fucking people. I don't want to manage that. I don't even want that to be my thing. That is okay. Your answer can be, I just want to be at 250K for the year and then I'm living good after taxes, right? The beauty of doing that is you can eliminate half the boxes and everything becomes so much simpler. My goal for you guys truly is this, though: regardless of the position or the revenue, the profit, regardless of how many people you have in the business, my goal is that you guys understand what the blueprint looks like, because here's the key. Regardless of if it's 10 million a year or $200,000 a year, having the blueprint written down somewhere allows you to actually build it and sustain it and keep it alive while you're not there. Because if you're not there and it's not written anywhere, guess what? The blueprint only exists one place, and that's up in here in your brain. And then what's going to keep happening is you're going to be called back into the business every 5 minutes when something goes wrong. But this chart allows your team, your business, your people, your partners, other business partners, to understand what is happening. So the good thing is this: I'm giving you guys a high level frame of it. And the reality is you can actually even become extensively more insane than this. If we were looking at a business that's doing 50 million a year, trust me, it would look a lot more ridiculous and a lot more intensive than this. But we're going to keep it super simple. But let's keep moving because we're actually running up on time. So we've already done the sales. We've already done the front side, right? The B2C, the business to consumer. Who's the business? Us, the company. Who's the consumer? Homeowners, typically, right? Now let's go on the back end, the B2B. This is where we get into what we call product fulfillment or service fulfillment, right? So I actually want you to do this. Alejandro, you see at the top right there, the top corner, right above sales director, I want you to write big old letters, S&M.
Right here?
Yep.
S&M?
Big letters. Yes, S&M. Boom. Sales and marketing. This is where that happens. We market for leads, right? We go into the world of prospecting. What does prospecting do? It goes into a cold audience base, and we find people who are compatible potentially with us. We prospect to them. We turn them into leads. A lead is someone who has a pain point, has something that we can solve. This makes them now fundamentally, to some degree, compatible with doing business with us. Then they accelerate once they're past marketing through a sales process. And that sales process is to do what? It's to get them under some form of agreement, some form of contract, whether that's sell me your home, whether that's buy a car for me, here's a Beamer, whether that's we're a roofing company and we want you to contract us to give you a new roof. You can do this to lending businesses. You can do this to realtor, to brokerages. You can do this to anything, guys. The reality is anything. This is S&M, and on the back end, Alejandro, right across S&M on the far right side, I want you to write fulfillment. Yeah, let's write fulfillment.
Okay.
Now, fulfillment's simple, guys. We've got the contract. We've got the business coming in. We've got the money coming in on the front end, right? Now we actually have to deal with it. We actually have to perform on what we said we were going to do. If you're wholesaling and you get a contract signed from a seller, great. You've done the marketing, you've done the sales. Now what you got to do to fulfill? You got to sell the damn contract. The deal ain't done yet. It's not over yet, right? If you're running a car sales company and someone responded to your TV commercial and they said, hey, I want a Honda Accord that's 2024, and they run the credit check, they do all the things and they're good to go. But let's just say you don't actually have the Honda Accord on the lot. Now you actually have to go in and figure out how can we fulfill and get a Honda Accord 2024 delivered to Bob Smith, who just came in. This is fulfillment. If you are a lending company, right? The lending company, they're generating leads for people who need deals, right? Then it's going to go through underwriting. It's going to go through preliminary underwriting and vetting, background checks, whatever you want to do. The fulfillment of that is actually the dispersing of the loan and the management of the loan until it gets closed and repaid. So, but for a typical S&M specific to wholesale, because it's most of our following right now, underneath fulfillment, we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna go dispositions director underneath fulfillment.
Okay.
In a box.
Okay,
Yeah, underneath.
Okay. Dispo? That's it?
Yep, Dispo director.
Okay.
So the cool thing is this: a lot of people they think like, well, hey Sam, we've got a deal. We just need to go find buyers, right? So we don't really need a director, right? Because Sam keeps saying a director's job is to go and find new things, find new pipelines, find new campaigns, venture into uncharted waters. At scale, a dispositions director's job is to build those pipelines, is to find new buyers, is to go find new softwares that work. Right? There's a new disposition software every 5 minutes. Right, we use a ton. We're crushing on Investor Lift. We're crushing on some of these other ones as well. But a dispositions director's job is to also monitor the health of everything happening in the disposition space, right, and report back to the CEO, the CEO, report back to the business owner about this is what's working, this is what's not. These campaigns are failing. These campaigns aren't. A dispositions director is worth their weight in gold. Okay, before we move on, I want to answer this question real quick. So, Rob Reeve, it's good to see you, dude. So would a fractional CFO be necessary, and where would it be placed on org chart or place them as a subcontractor for those duties? It depends, man. If you're going to bring them in-house, they're going to be alongside. They'd be called a C-suite. Okay, so you know how the C in CFO, chief? So, okay, I'm going to do this. This is great. Alejandro, do me a favor. We're just going to backtrack a little bit.
Yep.
You see where it says next to CEO/COO?
Yep.
Go another box to the left of that.
Okay.
And then I want you to put there CMO. Actually, CSO. Let's go CSO because we already got marketing dialed in. It's a chief strategy officer. Very often, this is like very high level, guys. Very high level. In a wholesale business, are you going to have a chief strategy officer? No, because that would typically be in conflict with your CEO. But when you go to like real high levels of like, this is Shopify has a separate president and a separate CSO. They also have a CMO and a marketing department, right? There's all these other things. Alejandro, on the right of CEO/COO, do me a favor, let's do another box and just put CFO there. If you are at scale, right, you may have a CFO. In my opinion, do I think one is necessary in a wholesale business or a real estate investing business? Not unless you're doing, in my opinion, at least eight figures to have them completely in-house on salary, right? I would usually just go the fractional route and outsource it to a company that does it. That's my personal take. And I want to hear what these guys say about that, but that's my personal take. Rob, in an organizational chart, you notice how all these three layers going left and right, they all start with C, right? C, Chief Strategy Officer, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer. This is what you call a C-suite. So it's C hyphen and then S-U-I-T-E, C-suite. A C-suite of a business at a hyper huge scale, they're basically running everything for you. So I hope that makes sense. Guys, do you guys agree with like the CFO, at least in this industry, maybe not needing to be internal and just outsourcing that to a fractional?
Yep.
Marlon, you are muted again.
Yeah, I was going to say, I absolutely agree. And I do think it's important to have somebody in there who is handling the books and is auditing and is paying attention to the money, because it's real easy to not have an eye on the money, but I don't think you need to bring it in-house until you're at that 8-figure mark. It doesn't make any sense. It's not worth the spend. It's not worth the cost of someone who's going to be quality in that position.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would say, guys, is it worth it bringing it in-house at some point? The answer is yes, but at that point, you're doing 8 figures, I would say, and you probably have enacted multiple verticals in the business. So at this point, it's like let's just say in the real estate space, at this point, you've got a wholesale business, then you've got a TC business, then you've got a lending arm, you've got like a legitimate lending arm, not like I do Gator lending, no, like a legitimate hard money lending company. Then you've got a title company. That's where we're going to go. But let's finish this out because we're already at time. Underneath Dispo Director, let's go finish that. Let's go finish that underneath it. Okay. So underneath that, you're going to have a box. It's going to say Dispo Manager. Okay, so this person's job, simple. They're the ones who are actually making sure that they're the ones actually having the negotiations with buyers. They're the ones making sure that buyers actually put in the highest and best offer. They're the ones who go and make sure the assignment agreement gets signed. They're the ones who are basically handling all of that, right? They're the ones who are managing the fact that these deals are being sold and done and finalized. Underneath the Dispositions Manager, I'm going to be super quick here. Let's go one big one, just one big box.
Okay.
Now, let's go at the top of it. Let's put intake specialist. No, in the box.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, my bad, dude. I tend to not be clear enough.
Oh, good.
Cameron, I'm going to be able to answer your question in a minute here.
Okay.
Intake specialist. Okay. And then also just at the bottom, like one of them is going to be, I'm so blanking right now. I don't know why. It's like, I know what it is. It's the person who basically goes and actually finds new buyer relationships.
Kind of like lead manager for Dispo, no?
Yeah. It's effective. Just put cold caller. Effectively, it's a cold caller. Effectively, it's someone, and this person's job is to basically just go and add new. This can be a virtual assistant. This person's job is just basically go add new buyers to the campaign, to the business, right? Their job is effectively the exact same thing. You guys will notice that the dispositions arm is a lot smaller than the acquisitions arm. Why? Because it's much more task oriented. Okay, and I want you guys to understand. Let's zoom back out, Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys notice, front end, sales and marketing. Front end, it's all sales and marketing. It's prospecting, lead generation, sales, acquisitions, right? The closing of the contract. And in the middle, it's the glue of the business, the TC, the property management, the project management. And on the back end, it's the fulfillment. They're the people who make sure the service gets done. They're the ones who make sure that, cool, my sales guys, my closers work their asses off to get this done. Let's make sure we all finish this and we make money on it and nothing comes back to bite us in the ass, right? That's the disposition side. Very often the disposition side, you can look at the lending space, right? They're the ones who are actually originating the loan at the end of it. They're the ones actually not originating. They're the ones who are actually fulfilling and sending out the money on if you have a lending company. if you have a TC company, this is the actual admin, usually the administrative roles that are actually handling the escrow proceedings, opening new escrow, getting new paperwork signed, all these things. I think this was valuable, guys. We're at 6:04. We are completely over time, so we basically do have to stop. But guys, do you guys have any last questions?
I have a question for you, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Really quick. On average, just throw out a number. I know it depends on the market and all type of extra stuff, but for you to have, a $1 million company and to feed this company, how many leads per month would you say it's necessary to fulfill this structure?
Great question. I can't answer that because it's going to depend on a couple things. So I'm going to give you a quick high-level breakdown of it, and then this could actually be a topic for next week if people want to see how to get value out of these things.
Heck yeah.
Reverse engineering, right? Your marketing spend, reverse engineering what your marketing needs to look like. We've actually talked about things like this before when we did quarter for the quarter. I think it might be, Q2 is coming up. I think it might be time for us to break quarter for the quarter back out and show people how to make $250,000 in the next 3 months of Q2. If you guys would want that, put yes in the chat, and then we'll do that next week. But in essence, what that looks like is actually going to be dependent on the marketing channel specifically. So if you want to make $1 million in a year, right, and your only marketing channel is cold calling, and you need 50 leads to a deal, right, you're going to have to take 50, right? And let's just say your average assignment fee is $10,000. Take $10,000, right? You need 50 leads. You're going to multiply those, and then you're going to multiply that by whatever the hell it takes to get to $1 million. The reality is I can't go on this intensively right now just because it's a massive breakdown. I'll probably spend an hour doing it. But let's do this 100%. If you guys want us to go over reverse engineering, marketing spend, lead generation, and if we should redo quarter for the quarter, then DM me, go to Instagram at ArchSamSing and DM me yes or quarter, whatever the fuck you guys want, and we'll do quarter for the quarter. I will show you how to make $250K in the next 3 months. Now, with that being said, I do want to go back to this, and I hope you guys don't mind me shamelessly plugging a little bit, but this is an important one. Guys, phenomenal question. This is one of the most important questions. If you guys saw me post on Instagram today, all my stories, you saw me say that if you are not actively focusing, regardless of wherever you're at in your business, I don't give a shit if you're brand new. If you are not actively focusing on building a team the right way, you are dying. Your business is dying because you were the life of your business. And if you go away, I know this because when I first got strep throat the very first time as a closer, I was crushing. And then I got strep throat and I couldn't speak for 2.5 weeks. I made no money and my business died. And I freaked the hell out. Then what ended up happening? We went to Clever Summit maybe about a couple months later. You know what happened at Clever Summit, guys? I broke my back. And I was out of commission for a month. And then all the business stopped then too. It's wild. So if you're not focusing on building a team, you are actually dying. You just don't know it yet. So Cameron asked, what are some good methods for sourcing people that you can trust? For example, what would the process of finding a sales director, finding a manager, finding anything? This Thursday, guys, I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody. If you guys can't click it, it should be in the chat on your YouTube channels. If it's not, just go to my Instagram, go to my stories. It's there. This Thursday, I'm going live with the person that showed me how to make millions on autopilot. This person charges usually almost $30,000 for one-on-one coaching. That's what I pay. Almost $30,000 for one-on-one coaching. I am bringing them to you guys completely for free. They're going to do a masterclass on one specific thing. It's not marketing. It's not any of the other shit. It is building a scalable team. We're going to talk about what we call, or what I call, the solopreneur's curse. So be there this Thursday. It's 5 p.m. PST, which is 8 p.m. EST. And here's the cool shit, guys, because I love putting my money where my mouth is. I haven't openly said this too much. I haven't said this on Instagram yet, but I'm going to let you guys know because you're my people. I'm going to pay for 10 people that night. I'm going to pay for their mentorship with them. So, be there. And I am done for today, boys.
Beautiful.
Good job, Sam.
Heck yeah.
So, guys, if you got value from today, make sure you let us know. The easiest way to do that is to take a screenshot of you watching through the entire podcast episode and tag myself, tag Alejandro, and tag Sam on Instagram. Let us know that you got value from this. Be like Carlos, dropping the W's in the chat. Let us know. And if you want to see that part 2, that's what's going to give us the motivation to do it. That's straight up how you get us to get Sam back on here, get him talking about all the secrets, opening up the sauce. And if you haven't already done so, I'm leaving the live open for 30 more seconds so that you can go and grab that URL link, grab that link, register for this call. This is one of the most valuable calls that you will be on probably all of 2024. I'm just being honest. Sam is one of those people that I value my conversations with him. I value my phone calls with him. Every time I talk with him, I either walk away with earning more money or having more clarity in my business. And that's really hard to come by, right? I can have clarity in my life. I can have clarity in my soul. However, there are very few people that give me clarity in my business. And Sam is one of those people. So take him up on this opportunity. This is going to be $1 million Zoom. And guys, we'll see you back here next Tuesday. But be sure to grab this link that's on the screen because it is going off the screen in 3, 2,